there was a home invasion robbery at my house, and fought for my life. I was shot 3 times.
I'm John Kim, a licensed therapist who used to be a miserable fuck before going on a hero's journey and turning expired relationships into revelations. I use my story to help others come with you instead of at you, unrehearsed on purpose, because self-help doesn't have to be polished or complicated, just honest. I invited Daniel Stewart to participate in my series, 21 Questions You Should Ask Your Therapist. And they're very personal questions, so chances are your therapist will not answer them. The point being, we should get to know our therapist instead of we're interested in who you are more than the letters after your name, which has been kind of my mission last 15 years to humanize his therapist. But once Daniel came here, I wanted to change it up because I feel like you have so much more to offer than 21 questions.
Thank you.
Yes, you have
Yeah, it's been interesting. We've had some great conversations, you and I, while I've been here already.
I feel like what's going to happen is an experience, and I don't want to get in the way of that experience
Me neither.
by putting in too much structure, like questions.
Okay, sounds great, man.
So the first thing I want to ask you is, I kind of want to start with your story, if you want to kind of jump into the deep end very fast.
I'm a good swimmer.
Good.
I took a deep bath.
If this was a book, right, the hook or the beginning would be titled "The Shooting."
Or The Day I Died, you said.
Ooh, the day you died.
You're so good with titles.
The day I died would be chapter 1. That would be the graph.
Right.
And I'm going to let Daniel tell you this amazing story. But first, let me just tell you, this man has a lot of tree rings. What I mean by that is, to me, I feel like you're very wise, and the wisdom is earned, right? Not just something you've read, but just through life experience and through your hero's journey. You're also a licensed marriage family therapist, correct? Specializing in depth psychology.
Yep.
You're also a yoga teacher.
Yes.
You also run retreats.
I do.
You also write.
I do. I'm a Kirtan Wala, lead calm response chanting. I'm also somatically trained, mind, body, and east-west focus. Yes.
I'm gonna call you the box set. You're all these things.
It's like the James Brown box set. That's right.
All right, tell us about the shooting, and also thank you so much for coming on here, sharing your story.
Pleasure.
Yeah, speak a little bit louder because these are
little, okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, good. No worries. Well, first, what a joy it's been to be here and spend time with you, man.
Yeah.
And I think I want to say first that, if the first chapter or the title was The Day I Died, that would be today, too.
Ooh.
You too.
Wait, what do you explain? What do you mean by that?
No, I'm good. I will. Just that the work I'm interested in is the way that deep dive into the authentic self, or the capital S self, or this whole space, or the unconscious, is really the realm where whatever we think we're looking for, that's what we're looking for. Whatever we're out there seeking,
right,
it's really that. And so in order to get there, every time we turn toward this deeper truth of who we actually are and let it unfold, though, our ego dies a little bit. That's what I mean. And there are lots of ways the ego is humbled, and lots of ways that we die. And you're asking me to tell a story where I almost did die.
Literally almost died. Yeah. Right. What's interesting at the that was also the kind of the catalyst for your rebirth.
Yeah, one of the times, right? That's why I'm pointing out that, you're here on the rebirth too, right?
Yes, correct.
I mean, that's what's so beautiful about being here. I came here kind of with the word sabbatical in my mind, which is not an escape from our life or our work. It's a dropping down deep into the actual work we're doing, away from, kind of the daily grind that keeps us from that, So yes, that's what I'm on here with you.
And if you're listening and not watching on YouTube, when he says here, we're talking about Costa Rica.
Yes, we are. We're talking about Playa Grande.
Yes.
Costa Rica. Waiting for the truck. So really blessed to be here, kind of on a another deep dive, right? You and your wife are here doing that. I'm here doing that. Getting a chance to really quiet down, let my ego have a little bit of a space, so that I can, rest more deeply. In yoga, they say the mind is still. We rest in our authentic nature. We are that again. Sure. So the story you're wanting me to tell, I think, I know, is I was working in film for many years, and toward the end of that time, I'll be brief. There was a home invasion robbery at my house, and fought for my life. I was shot 3 times, and survived, obviously. And it was one of those, life-altering, um, terrifying, but also empowering experiences that shifted my life. There were many times, as I said, the ego died that day. I had to move in a completely different way. And I think the reason that we talk about ego dying and these moments of rebirth is because some kinds of experience and loss are so big that our ego experience can no longer continue believing what it believed. I am not that anymore. None of that is true. Makes sense? Makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to let go of, who we think ourselves to be, who the construction we've made of our, persona or the life we're trying to live. And so that was one of those moments, right? I was shot 3 times, went to the hospital that night after fighting for my life, and obviously nothing was the same after that. In fact,
Wait, was that the event that made you eventually become a therapist?
yes,
Did you
it
change
was the
careers because of
beginning.
that event?
Yeah, it was the beginning. Yeah. I was already a yoga teacher.
Yeah.
I took a teacher training during that recovery, and then started teaching yoga, and then started teaching yoga in substance abuse recovery and eating disorder recovery centers. And I just saw the power of this embodied, the practice of mindfulness and heart opening. And then I just realized, oh God, even though my parents were all therapists and my family was so fucked up, I would never do that. I did have to do that. And I became a therapist, and that's been my path. And then along the way, opened a yoga studio, which is another way to do, numinous embodied work with groups and individuals. And my music has always been a way that I've spoken. And so that's a way that I brought that along with me. That was came to yoga and to the retreat world, etc. So that's the basic story.
The
Yeah.
well, there's also something more. I mean, I don't know if I would call it a twist, but it's definitely a story that makes you think about bigger things, and that is see, he's showing you the bullet.
Yeah, I was
You're
showing
watching
you
this.
the bullet that came out of my chest
So
just 3 years ago.
the bullet you did not take out for a long time.
That's true. It would not.
Tell us the story about the doctor and the bullet and the coincidence, or maybe not
Yes, I see
coincidence.
where you're
Yes.
going. I see what he wants. Yeah. So many years I tried to have this one bullet. The other 2 bullets did not stay in me. The one in my arm was removed, and the one that struck my head did not enter my brain, thankfully. But this one was too close to too many, vital structures in my chest. The main arteries, the subclavian, the jugular, the brachial plexus, which are the nerves that go to the arm, top of the lung, et cetera, et cetera. And I couldn't find anyone who was willing to take it out. It just was too dangerous. And it was causing discomfort over the years and getting worse and worse, really. And finally, one day, my chiropractor young man, introduced me to a guy standing over me because I was on the floor stretching. And it turned out, actually, that's backwards. I'll tell that part later. He referred me to a surgeon who was a trauma surgeon who worked vascularly in this area, in the thoracic. And he worked with a partner who is a neurospecialist, a brain specialist. So they worked together. And when I met with him, it's the first time anyone said, I think we can do this. And I said, are you a cowboy? Is this crazy? He said, no, I'm very conservative, but I work with this partner and we go in. And so we can't say we'll get it. We're going carefully. We'll open up the scar pocket. If it's a vascular issue, I'll work it. If it's neurobiological, he'll work it. If we can do that, we'll bring it out. We won't know till we're in there. And I said, that's extraordinary. I'm so glad that Dr. Cryer, that's the man that I was introduced to by my chiropractor, referred you. And he looked at me very strangely. He said, you don't know who Dr. Cryer is, do you? I said, no. He said, he was the doctor who was on call at UCLA in the trauma ward there when you were brought in. He's the one who saved your life. Boom.
That was what, 14 years ago?
That was 30 years.
30 years ago. Wow.
94. And so I had chills. I had shivers. Like, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did that feel when you heard that?
Oh God, full circle. I just knew this is the right person. This is the right time. Yeah. And it was time in so many ways. It really was time.
The doctor that saved your life 30 years later took the bullet
Referred me
to
to
the
the man who could take out the bullet.
bullet.
And they
Yeah,
did. 3-hour surgery.
yeah.
I came out asking everybody over and over, did we get it? Did we get it? Now, symbolically, right? You're talking about, waking up and growing and soul growth and what we do as therapists to help people, remove patterns or come to ways that they can revitalize their life force and live more authentically, live their full inner life. It felt to me like a kind of an alchemical moment. Alchemy is one of Jung's ideas about things being in the retort and burning off everything that is not the goal of the personality. And lead is the compound they usually talked about. So I expected a lead bullet.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's a 45 and it's copper.
Mm.
And so, it's already been alchemized. So that was the idea I had in my mind, right? Isn't that fascinating? I thought, this is not a lead bullet. I mean, in the fantasy world, it went in lead and it came out, quote unquote, copper, right?
Right.
Yeah, right. But what a time! I remember waking up in the middle of the night at the first night in the hospital, and I had a concussion, and it's just crazy. And I had this flooding feeling of gratitude that is like honey just everywhere, that I was alive and that and then I had this feeling, this is what we do as humans, right? I had this feeling, life is so precious. It doesn't matter what we do now. Just do it, man. Just grab it.
Mm.
But as I came back to my life, I also had the contradictory and opposite, of course. Life is all about the compensatory opposites. I had the opposite experience. Life is so precious. What you do matters.
Right.
Pick well and wisely. So these two opposites have kind of been my two poles of driving force.
Do you feel like gratitude faded? Do you feel like as you then go back into life and you are paying taxes and
Yeah.
that thing that happened to you it becomes a memory? Um,
Yeah.
you mentioned gratitude being like honey.
Yeah.
Does it then fade, and then you kind of have to go back to school, kind of thing?
Yeah, I love that. Well, one of my monikers is Soul School. Say we're always going back to school. It's all Soul School.
Yeah.
But the way I think of it is in this same idea we're talking about, diving. Like, I'm very curious about observing what is beneath the surface of things, right?
Right.
So ego gets caught and, of course, forgets all the things, forgets our divine nature, forgets who we are, forgets our authentic self, and can forget that gratitude, of course. But it's our work, I think. Like this morning, my intention in meditation was to bring the sacred, I said, bring the sacred inner realm in relationship dynamically with the intentional world of my actions, right? And so it's a choice we make to keep focusing our consciousness on that gratitude, on that inner world, on that which wants to be known and expressed, right? So yes, of course the gratitude fades. But our work, just like, you've been working out here, I've been watching you building these strong muscle patterns. Same thing, we build a pattern of gratitude and
Right.
awareness, right? I think that's how I think about it. Yeah.
What are some of your revelations 1 week into your solitude in Costa Rica? As you are journaling, which you've been doing diligently,
Yes,
you've
I
been
have. Yeah.
moving in the pool, you've been
Yeah.
taking sunset walks.
That'd been great.
Uh, maybe the first question I should ask you is, why are you here?
Well, it is, as I said earlier, I came to a place, I've done so much, right? Like, I have a full practice as a psychotherapist, I have clinical responsibilities, I own a yoga studio, I teach yoga, I lead groups, I teach for your wife, Vanessa's academy, the
Inner Compass.
Inner Compass
Yeah.
Academy. I do music, and a lot of those things are powerful and meaningful, working with clients, but they don't, this is surprising, maybe they don't fill my soul.
Oh,
Sitting with clients, powerful, meaningful, help, good work. Never have to ask myself, am I doing good work? But it does not fill my soul. It actually takes my energy and I have to replenish.
wait, real quick, because that's really important.
Yeah.
Did it once fill your soul? It doesn't now, or
No.
has it? Oh, it's
No.
never filled your
No.
soul. That's a blunt. So
that's
we are
exactly-
humanizing the therapist, because for a therapist to even say
Yeah.
that yes, the work I'm doing is powerful and I'm helping people at the same time, meaningful,
soulful,
yes,
deep.
deep. But at the same time, it's still it's not filling your soul.
Yeah, it's like, one of those fantasy stories where the healer, puts his hand on and heals the person, but then takes a week to regenerate himself.
right.
That's how it's been for me. And part of that probably is my early life, my mother's mental illness, the things, it's too close to home when I'm doing this work. By the way, any clients out there, I love working with you.
Yes,
It's not that.
it's not that.
But I've just been thinking more and more at this time in my life, this age, what is it that is profoundly important? What is the most essential? Like, if I'm going to wake every day, and by the way, this is privilege to be able to do this.
Yes. Thank you for
If
saying
I'm
that.
going to do this,
I mean, look, we're in a golf cart talking into microphones in Costa
In
Rica.
Costa
This
Rica,
is-
yeah.
not everyone can
No,
do this, and we're
truly.
talking about filling our souls, and other
Truly.
people are, trying to eat and
yeah,
pay
5
bills.
jobs.
Yeah,
no, and I'm aware of that all the
Yeah.
time, and it's taken me years to build all this success. And then if I have limited time, which I do, you can see my gray hair that I
That's
have.
why I cut
have
all mine off because I had just as much.
by the way, I almost cut mine off when I think about what you're doing, but I don't have the courage yet. We'll see.
Maybe when you move to
Maybe
Costa
it'll
Rica,
happen, yeah,
yeah,
maybe.
because this doesn't really work in LA, but here it's great. I love it here.
Yeah, no, I would love to do it too. And
How would you know if something did fill your soul?
yeah,
Like, how would you?
that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
There are things I do that are soulful,
Mm.
and it's the same idea. Can we get out of the patterns enough to feel, know, drop in, listen to soul? There are constant whispers of the authentic self, right? And we're often trained that our authentic self is dangerous. We don't express it. That's one simple way of saying it. And so this sabbatical time has been partly about that. I wanted to come. It's not like traveling. This has been wonderful, not traveling on my own, traveling with you guys here. It's family. You guys are showing me the ropes. I'm not alone unless I want to be.
I like that you're calling it a sabbatical.
Yeah, that's what I am.
There's intention behind that.
That's right.
Right.
And I guess one thing I'm thinking now then here, as I'm taking the time to consider, okay, so how am I going to shape my life? What are the intentional choices and patterns I'm going to make that will keep this feeling of sabbatical and this, deep handshake with my soul space going as I'm thinking and creating in this next phase? I think that's how I'd say what.
Oh, so like what you're saying is, how can I take some of the feelings I'm having even this week,
Absolutely.
and thread them into my life that it becomes a lifestyle because
Absolutely.
you're saying that is part of this soul equation.
Absolutely. In fact, that's what I teach in my retreats. Like, how do we notice the patterns that we have, mostly unconscious, that we haven't chosen? How do we replace them with intentional patterns that we want to foreground
Right.
the life we want to live? And then how do we build the muscle? Like I was saying, you've built this practice of posting all the time, being healthy in your body, etc. These are just choices, intentional choice, right?
Wait, back up, because what you're saying, I think, is it's a lot of heavy lifting and also kind of dense. But to bring it, you're the wine glass, I'm the shot glass, right? Like I like bringing things to street level.
Okay,
And what you said is a textbook. So this idea that we live this life, there's stuff happening underneath.
Yep.
And you said to notice patterns in the unconscious, right?
First, we notice the way they're expressed on the outside. Like, why am I doing these things? These are the
Right.
patterns I have. Often there's an undercurrent underneath we haven't even addressed yet. Trauma,
Right.
unconscious patterns, repetition that we are not aware of, etc. Yeah. And then we make choices. Like, okay, now I see that. Can I literally make choices every day, working with a therapist or with myself or whatever, to stop those patterns and replace them with
New ones.
Yeah. And in yoga, that'd be called samskaras.
Do you feel that over the years, because you have been busy, you've been very successful, do you feel that over the years you've been a little bit on autopilot? Maybe in the last, I don't know, 6 months, year, maybe 5 years, and because you've been a little bit grayed out, now you're searching for something. What's next?
That's a great question. I wouldn't say that quite that way, because the way I've lived and what I've learned and what I do
Is not autopilot.
I'm never on autopilot.
Right.
But there are unconscious patterns that I'm looking at, but also choices I've made. Like, I have built a lot and I don't want to build as much right now. I want to create a space where I can actually be still enough. You keep asking me, where's your book? And I keep saying, I don't know, it's coming. But for now, I'm just wanting to be still enough, listening enough, being curious enough, swimming in that depth space where all creative work arises, and see what's there. This is how I know it's coming from my soul. Glimmers that are like, oh yeah, that, and then follow and start interacting between those glimmers and creating a space that may become some writing that's presented, may not. But
what are some examples of glimmers? And maybe this week, or maybe
coming here was a good. I just knew, like you said to me the other day, everybody's talking about coming down. Nobody's come yet. I was just like, yes, I know. I love Costa Rica. I want that. I'm going to come down, be with you guys.
Hey, speaking of, I just had a friend. You were there at the coffee shop, and he brought a friend, his business partner, and he's like, "Oh, my business partner's been here for a week. He's now going to come here buy." And it's interesting because I have weird feelings about that. Because on one hand, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's great. I mean, I would love for you to be a neighbor," but then there's a part of me that is like, "No,
it's
don't
secret.
don't tell.
Don't bring.
I want to gatekeep."
Yeah,
And I don't want you to invite your friends here and suddenly they're buying houses.
Yeah,
You know,
right, right.
it's
That's
interesting. Yeah.
how to get that balance. Yeah, exactly. It's all balance.
Listen, I'd rather have friends here and friends of friends than because people are going to come no matter what. I can't, no one's gatekeeping anything. So, um,
I also think, if I could say more about the question you asked, I think we know what is soulful, and we often move away from it or forget.
mm,
Many of the things that are soulful are the same things that were when I was young: music,
oh, right,
writing.
right. So what comes to my mind is connection to self.
Sure.
You know,
That's right.
one of the reasons why I actually shaved my head was because so I've done this before, and the times that I've done this before, I didn't have the confidence or security to actually drop in
Mm,
and be comfortable with it. I
mm,
was
mm,
squirmy, I was
mm,
insecure, and then I grew it right back. Right.
mm,
So
mm,
this is the third time I shaved my head, except this time it's sticking, and it isn't because I'm in Costa Rica. I think it's because I just don't exchange truth for membership anymore, or I do a lot less. I'm 52. I care less about how I look and more about how I feel.
Yeah,
And
sure.
before it was vice versa.
Sure, and that would be one of the examples of a little ego death, right? Your ego would be like, "Don't do that.
Right.
Throw it back." And you're
Right.
like, no, true
Right.
self says we're gonna stay here.
Yeah.
right?
You look shorter. You, when you had an inch, when it was spiky, you had an inch.
Yeah,
Now you gotta wear boots,
Yeah.
and you don't wear boots in Costa Rica.
No,
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 barefoot and shaved head.
no, you don't. You can get really tall flip flops.
Do you think that ego death is it's not a it's an ongoing thing, a pattern? It is
Yeah.
not a and then do you think that that is shedding? Do you think that is how we get to, as you say, the authentic self?
Yeah, it's one way to think about it. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, for Jung, I mean, again, I'm interested in this interface between Jung's step psychology and Eastern traditions like Raja Yoga or Buddhism. Jung says, we have an ego that gets disconnected from the truth of ourself, and it gets waken up by being shot in the kitchen or whatever.
God.
And if we're paying attention, we turn that ego focus back on the depths and start to be, revitalized and fed by what's there. And if we follow that, we'll be led. He says the self is like a crystal matrix of our life. We can just allow it to unfold, but the ego has to help that.
Mm.
The rest of the time in Western psychology, the ego is engaged in ideas that are just for the I and not for the whole of the personality, and not for the expression of full self. And so this is the dance. In the East, it's even more interesting and simple. You're remembering everything you've forgotten by taking away all the layers that have become conditioning and patterns of thinking and etc., so that you can know that you are already that.
You're remembering everything you've forgotten.
That's right. In yoga, you are already God, consciousness, whatever, the creative source to be expressed, the vital true self. And by the way, there are great morals in there, like ideas like nonviolence and honesty come from these deeper spaces, all of them.
As you say this, it's interesting because I'm also in an act break in my life, not just a chapter, and I feel like you're approaching an act break as well.
Yeah.
Another part of ego death was letting go of the motorcycle because it wasn't just a Harley Davidson; it was tied to identity. It was tied to, I think I've turned myself into a caricature because when I went through my first rebirth post divorce, the guy that was finding himself through donuts, barbells, and motorcycle kind of became a brand.
Right.
And the long-haired guy that would show up at the coffee shop with jeans and a t-shirt on his Harley,
Yeah.
that became. It started with my truth,
Yeah.
Because that I was pulling for my solid self, and by doing so went a little bit rogue, and then it kind of became a caricature because then it became my identity.
Right. Then you're locked into it. Right.
Then I'm
so
locked
it's
into
not
it.
fluid.
Right, and so
Because
now
you're fluid. So anytime you're not expressing fluidly, we're caught. Right. It has to be a constant shifting. Right. That's it.
Well, if my house didn't burn down and we weren't forced to explore,
Right.
I would still be holding on to
You might be.
handlebars,
Something else
long
might.
hair,
Yeah. Something
paying
else.
$300 for a
Right.
berm, and
Yeah. No, that's beautiful.
all that stuff. And I feel like there has been a shedding by force
Yeah.
because our house burned down.
Well, that's beautiful, and also I'm sorry, of course, but
Mm.
that's like the shooting for me. Like, yes, Jung would say that if we don't keep moving out of our tighter ego personas, something will come. He says God consciousness or whatever will come and kick us sideways, and that these losses are the quickest way. I don't know if he said this, but I think that to spiritual practice, right? When we're shattered, when our ego is broken on the back of the loss that big, then we're in spiritual practice. And we have to be with that which is deeper or larger or bigger than that little ego. Yeah, the motorcycle means nothing at that point.
Here it means nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're standing in the ashes of your house,
Right.
it means
Yeah.
nothing. That's what
Yeah.
I mean.
Of
When
course.
I'm
Then it's
standing
just a
in my
motorcycle.
kitchen bleeding, it's
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
Then we're like, what is essential? That's one of those moments where that, the ego's attempt to control and move us forward and have us look the best we can and shatters. It's just, we don't have time to worry about that. I've got to get up and heal. Got to get up and hopefully find myself again. And so, I think you've had a pretty healthy attitude about this loss that happened becoming a silver lining. You speak about it all the time.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, what are those things anyway? I mean, I know what they are, but in the end, and again, this is privilege talking, because I know I'm safe, really. Those things are not the things that we are, right? It's our who we are is an inner experience, right? Like I said earlier, whatever we think we're seeking is in here. It is a relationship to the self and soul. It's not that. And if we're lucky, we keep coming back to a grounding in knowing that we are more than just our little ego consciousness, and that we can express creatively from that space. And by the way, I wanted to say something, because we've had some great conversations about this. One of the best ways, I think, to undermine ego control and structure and persona is vulnerability. Is to really get clear, like, I'm tender. Let me express this thing that I feel if I say will get me cast out of the culture. I'll be thrown out, and the gypsies will get me. It will be the thing that people will know I'm broken. But instead, if we do it in the right way with the right people, it's like, oh my God, yes, come here. And relatedness happens. Now, here's a crazy idea. I think the core of all suffering in the Buddhist traditions is the belief that we're separate. And this idea that we're not present. Chitan Han said, all you have to do is teach interrelatedness. How could there be anything other? I mean, just how does anything happen? How did this truck get built, etc.? But we have all these ideas about the other. We have not yet gotten here to understand this interrelatedness. If we can keep working toward knowing, like, we're all in this one big ship. You can't scream at someone over there, hey, there's a hole on your side. We're all sinking. Right? So how to recognize that. I think this alienation and deep longing that I know you feel, we've talked about it, comes sometimes from not being able to be fully, mindfully present with the truth of what is. And then we're related again.
Related to
everything. Like, for example, what I mean is, we spend a lot of time building defenses and practices and ideas that keep us from being present and feeling the truth of what is. Like, if I could write one truth, suffering is an avoidance of or a misperception of the truth. You have to get with the truth in order to grow and move. And that's uncomfortable. We've talked about that too. The discomfort is the place that growth happens, right? So I think when you cut off your hair and you decide to keep it off, that's discomfort.
Sure.
And the ego says, put it back on. And you're saying, no, I'm growing. I'm growing. So for me, this journey, if I be authentic with you, which I will, I feel a great responsibility that I've been struggling with, because I know I have the right to just be creative again now.
Right.
But I have this almost a shame idea that how could I, when I'm helping so many people, when the world is in such trouble, how could I do that now?
Oh, you mean like actually make it about you?
Yes, right. Yeah.
In a way.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which has been I've been watching that and playing with that. And
is there some guilt and maybe even shame with that you're taking a quote unquote sabbatical?
Yeah.
And possibly taking less
Yeah.
sessions or
Yes, exactly.
tapering off some other things
Yeah.
to pursue things
Yeah.
that light you up.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it's both. It's always both and for me. Like you just get both, get the whole. So yes, I worry about that. I wonder about that. I feel a responsibility. I'm not saying it's accurate after what I do and what I've done. And by the way, I'm not going to drop out. That's the reason I'm using the word sabbatical.
Yeah.
It is not I'm removing myself from life. I'm not going to be like the guy I saw in Bali I just left because the country's in trouble and I'm just going to drop out. And that's not what I'm about. I want to keep building this inner relationship so that true expression can happen, whatever that is creatively in the next phase of my life. But I do feel guilt at times. Like, what about all the people I could be helping? And okay, what's the wonderful quote by Heschel? If I'm not for me, who will be?
Right.
If not now, when?
One thing one thing I've noticed about you this week is it seems like the the to do for you is actually not to do. So
That's
it
right.
seems like
Yeah.
you're not here to like check any boxes off. You're actually here to get very still,
Yeah.
listen to yourself,
Pay attention. Yeah.
and then also like accept the not knowing. Because
Absolutely.
I'll ask you questions you don't have answers to, like for example, when you're gonna write your book, right?
Yeah.
And I love that you draw boundaries where you firmly believe that it's in the stillness where you'll have the answers,
That's right.
right? And so
That's right. It's a gestation, right? You don't rush something growing. It has to have a gestation period. And
yeah,
if you try to make it, I'll even say it this way: that which is mysterious, it does not want to be named at all, and it certainly doesn't want to be named too soon.
well, how do you know if you are like you said,
Resisting.
how do you know if you are being lazy, resisting, or if it is nesting gestation?
Yeah.
Like how do you know?
Good question. If I'm working with a client, I would be looking at the things I'm feeling like. This is not lazy.
Yeah, no,
I came to Costa Rica. I'm not drinking margaritas on the beach. I came
right,
with
right.
this deep intention, and I've been following it every day.
Right.
And I think that when we actually grow from one phase to another, we're asked to hold the tension of the opposites in a way that is extremely uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And this is uncomfortable, even though I've come to know this discomfort well enough to be comfortable in it. Like, yes, I know I'm on the right path. So I feel, you ask, how do I know? It's not lazy. I'm leaning up against the discomfort right now and knowing that something will come if I stay with it.
Right.
That's how I know. It's like getting in the longboats like the Vikings did. I don't know where I'm going. Greenland might be out there, but I'm just going to row for now. I'm headed somewhere without knowing exactly where. And that's the ego part of relaxing, because the ego wants to call it something and label it and do it and get it out. And I want all that.
Yeah.
If there is something that I write that must be shared, I will share it. But right now, if I do that too soon, it will stop my creative process. That's what I'm trying to hold, that tender space. Does that make sense?
Yes, and what I'm learning about you, I really believe in this idea of collisions and the human exchange. So not just words, but energy.
Yeah, sure.
We all get something from that exchange. And
Sure.
so my takeaway from you, part of it is, you use words like drop in, and you talk about
Yeah.
presence, the here and now.
Yeah.
And it's been a reminder for me, even though I'm here in Costa Rica, my mind is my mind, and wherever I'm at in the world, it's still my mind.
Yes,
And
of
so
course.
I'm spinning. I'm trying
Busy,
to,
engaged,
yeah, like
future,
yeah, right. Still
past,
have like the rat
worry.
race in my head.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so one thing I've gotten from you is you've been authentically downshifting.
I am.
I've been talking a lot of shit. You have been. I've been here 5 months, and I've been
No.
acting like I have.
No,
But
no,
I noticed you
no.
really downshifting. So whether that is like, hey, listen, in the morning I'm going to journal for X amount of time,
Yeah.
or I'm going to
Yeah.
go in the pool. I've seen you at the pool
Yeah.
at night.
Working on my knee, by the way. I had a knee replacement. Yeah.
A brand new knee.
Yeah. But those are, again, intentional choices.
Right.
You're absolutely right.
But even when we're talking, you'll put your hand on my shoulder, or you'll be like, "Hey, how you feeling?" There's a bringing back to kind of like the here and now.
Yeah.
That I notice you doing a lot, which
Thanks,
I'm like, oh, what a reminder.
Yeah, and it's been great to get to know you because, I knew you as a figure married to my good friend.
Yeah.
And now to really spend time as a man and hang out. No, you're absolutely right. I think that's right. I'm working more and more. I think everyone needs to work more and more on, can we get present? I don't mean this in a woo-woo way. I don't mean it as a spiritual bypass. I mean, like, oh, sit down and no, I mean, there is only what is in this moment that needs to be interacted with and related to in order to grow. That's it. There's no other place. And our mind is trying to find a better moment or a moment that feels better
Yeah.
or will provide, if I can only get to that moment, I'll be okay. But then we miss the life that we're living here as we're growing. I mean, I fundamentally believe that. And so I'm trying to practice that here while I'm in Costa Rica, really looking, watching. What do I do? What are the avoidances? What are the patterns? What happened when I had that uncomfortable feeling this morning? Why did I go over there and look at my phone? What, et cetera, et cetera. And it's so powerful if we were all trained. Imagine if every kid was trained to pay attention to their inner world right away. Like, what are you actually feeling, hon? What is your body telling you right now? What is happening in your body? Wow, that's important. You need to listen. That's the most important thing you can listen to, little one. And don't let other people tell you that's not true. And how do we embody that and make sense out of it, meaning? I mean, if you want to know if something's soulful, get connected to how it feels to be where you are and doing what you do and in the relationship that you're in, etc. Right?
Let me ask you this: for people who are very left brain and they're doers, what would be the value in them trying to be more present?
Okay.
So
What a
why would
great
someone
question.
why would someone
What a
even
great
try
question.
to exercise? Because it is hard, and
What a great question.
it's 100 times a day, right?
What a great question.
Why should they make that a priority?
Well, first place, I think I said to you while we were here at some point, I'm doing the most important doing that one can do, which is this not doing for a moment, right?
Yeah,
So that
yeah,
I can experience and discover. And so, I mean, just the basic. I'm talking to a left brain person, say they're a top business person. By
yeah,
the way, a lot of people in my practice are top
yeah.
tier level
Super successful,
people
right?
in film business.
Yeah.
Like anything we do, particularly if we're creative, is going to be done better if we're present,
Yeah,
period.
yeah.
Anything else is anxiety or movement away from it. So learning how to be with the turmoil. And I think you know this as a writer, if we can sit with the fact that we don't yet have it, it's trying to come out of us.
Yeah.
We want to get away from that moment because it's so uncomfortable. We don't even like the words that are coming. But if I can be present with that and just be okay, then generally the muse will come out, right? So I would say to someone who's left brain, like, okay, well, you can try to live your life, focus on another moment that might come, and then I'll talk to you when you're dying, and we'll say, how was that? And they'll be like, I don't really remember. I'm being facetious, but what other way is there to live than to be fully present and take big old bites out of the joy and presence of our life? I mean, what can we do otherwise?
I think one of the reasons why I meant to come here is one of the ways to get present is by awe. It's by um, noticing, right? And
Yes. Oh, yeah.
it's very easy in Costa Rica to see connector. So whether like as I'm driving this golf cart, I mean, look at the greens, right? The size of a mango.
The taste of the mango.
I mean,
The bread we got.
the bread we got, the sunsets,
The sunsets.
um,
Extraordinary.
surfing, like everything here is so
Yeah.
rich
And
in
the
color.
time, I'm going to just say to your audience, the time we've had, we said, if we met back in LA, we'd have a dinner. And then, wouldn't see you for 6 months. We've had little drop-ins
Touch and goes.
over again throughout the week, which where we just keep being together. It's a more, okay, here's the difference, right? Consciousness and the ego is like this, drop, and then over here, and then we're over here. Deep consciousness is more like this. It's all connected. Like, oh yeah, I'm still with John, even though it's not 3 months. He's up in the house next to me. Now we're going on this ride.
Mm-hmm.
Can we keep ourselves present enough? Because listen, A-listers out there, if you're looking for innovation, it is not going to come from the ego. It's already, everything you know up here, you already know.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to come from a relationship with the creative source. That can only happen when we're present and one way or another. That's my belief.
Well, what is the relationship between presence and consciousness?
Consciousness is built to consciousness the way, hey bud, the consciousness the way I think about it is built through presence. That's it. I mean,
so obviously you can't be conscious if you're unpresent, not present.
right.
Yourself.
And yeah, I mean, mostly if we're not present, we're doing unconscious repetitive patterns rather than conscious repetitive patterns.
And you can't be authentic or in your solid self if you're not conscious.
You can't build new consciousness if we're not sticking in the discomfort and working with it, right?
Right. So I mean, okay, so that's great because now I could kind of put some pieces together. And if you're new to conversations like this, if the goal is to live a conscious life, so you're not just living a cardboard cutout life,
Yep.
um,
Authentic and conscious. Yep.
one of the key ingredients is to be present. And this is
True.
why meditation, mindfulness, gratitude
True.
practices, which
True.
a lot of people think are silly and wonky and bumper
Yeah.
stickers,
Yeah.
it's actually putting in reps
True.
to be more
True.
conscious.
And I would add another layer. I know we're coming to an end, but it's also literally turning ego awareness toward the depth, toward symbols, toward feelings, toward dreams, toward the glimmers, toward the emotional state, and working with that. So it's not just quieting and meditation and contemplation. It's also, at least in the Western way, what is there to be excavated and integrated, right, into a full conscious self, something like that. That'll have to be our next talk.
Yes.
Golf cart conversations. I love it.
I love it because the whole goal for this conversation was to have no script, no questions, and just actually to be present and allow whatever to unfold.
How'd we
So
do?
we actually did what we're preaching,
It sounded like
which is
it.
just to be present and allow things to flow through us.
Thanks, brother. It was
Yeah.
a joy, really. It was
Hey
a joy.
Daniel, if people want to follow your story, where can we find you?
Good damn question.
You also don't need listen. You also can be. I don't want to be found right now because I don't
mind
know.
being found.
Okay.
I may not respond, but I'm on Instagram at Minstrelion, Minstrelion. Although I haven't been posting, and I'm just starting to post.
But now you have to.
But also
you-
risinglotusyoga.com.
Yeah.
And that's my yoga studio in Sherman
Oh, that's easy to remember.
I have a private practice, danielstewart.com.
He doesn't want any more clients, guys.
But
all Daniel stuff will be in the show notes, links, if you want to continue
Thanks,
to
brother.
follow his story.
What a joy.
What a joy. And man, it's it's interesting while you're on this sabbatical, just kind of being here and being yourself has been a form of treatment for me, being around you.
I
So
love that.
at the very minimum, reminders,
I love that, brother. Yeah. I love that. Thank you.
and also seeing you light up here makes me realize
Where you are.
where I am.
Gratitude.
It's easy to forget.
Yeah.
You
that's
eat enough
gratitude.
plantains and you're just like, it was sunset, whatever. But then seeing his reaction to the things here reminds me, oh yeah, I am in paradise. It could also be a prison. There are things here that I shouldn't take for granted.
Well, and as you just said, it's a perspective that turns something from prison
To paradise. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for listening. Be well.